During an NHL hockey season, Trevor Linden scored his 200th goal in his 5th game of the season and his 230th goal in the 70th game of the season. So how many goals did he have when playing in his 40th game if he scores at a constant rate during the year? So the constant rate indicates that it's going to go up in a straight line. So I'm just going to graph this here. So at the 5th game, so maybe 5th game is here somewhere. Actually, maybe I should scale that a little bit differently. We have, let's say 75 games is here. So 40 games is somewhere around here, and 5 games maybe somewhere around here. Okay, so the number of goals is dependent on the number of games. So games is along the X, that's our input. And goals is our output, or along the Y. And it looks like, let's say that's 100, 200, 300. Okay, so 200, 300, 100. So in the 5th game, he scores his 200th goal. In his 75th game, he scores his 230th goal. Well, my scale is not that great, and we need to figure out how much in this 40th game. Somewhere in between there anyways. So we can see that probably going to be, somewhere in between 200 and 230, and maybe it looks like, in fact, it's exactly in between when I look at the picture of this. So let's work this out. We want to find the equation of this relationship. So we need the slope. So I'm going to calculate my slope of this straight line relationship. I know he gained 30 goals in 75 minus 5, looks like it's 70 games. Okay, so my slope is going to be 30 goals per 70 games. So we can write that as 3 goals every 7 games. Okay, or this works out as decimal as 0.42 goals per game. So there's our constant rate. That's our slope. And we're going to work out the Y-intercept here. So the Y-intercept here is going to be the value when we go to 0. So we're going to work out the Y-intercept by plugging in into our equation. So Y equals our slope of 3 over 7 times the number of games plus the unknown Y-intercept. So plus B. So we can plug in a convenient point. So I'm going to use the relationship of 5 games, 200 goals, and I'm going to plug that into X and Y. So 200 goals in 5 games. So in his the Y-intercept, it's not going to be exactly on a whole number. So using a calculator here, we can, well, let's use our fraction here. So we're going to have 15 over 7. So 1400 over 7 minus 15 over 7. That's going to be our B. So this works out to be 1385 over 7. So that's about 198 goals. Okay, so that's going to be our Y-intercept. So the Y-intercept represents the number of goals at the beginning of the year. Okay, so we want to find out, we haven't actually answered this question. So if he's playing in his 40th game and scores at a constant rate, what would his, how many goals would he have in his 40th game? Okay, so we're going to plug that in. So we have here y equals the goals on the 40th game. Okay, we're going to plug it into this equation. So plugging that in, we get 120 over 7 plus 1385 over 7. Okay, and this works out to be, when we plug that all in, it's going to be 141505 over 7. And on my calculator, if I plug that into my calculator, I get 215. Okay, so that ends up being, is that right? Yeah, 215 goals on his 40th game. And again, if we take a look at this, we can see proportionally it's just going to be exactly halfway. 40 games is exactly halfway between 5 and 75. And so we should have exactly halfway between 230 goals. 200 and 230 goals, which is our 215 goals here.